So today, and with today I mean 7 months ago when I made this dress, I decided to make Withwendy's dress from her $1 fabric challenge. I love the dress. I think it's beautiful. I love that you can wear it as a beachy vibe, you can wear it as a evening dress, and I like that. So I decided to make the dress. I like that you can wear it with like a turtleneck in the winter, even though it's backless, and you can wear it in the summer without the turtleneck because it's summer. And I just wanted to see how easy it is to follow a Withwendy tutorial. I generally really enjoy her videos, and I think almost everything I know about sewing I learned from her videos because she's really thorough. So I'm happy to share my experience making a Withwendy dress. I did not use $1 fabric because I've never seen $1 fabric in my life. If I ever do, I'll be very happy.
Okay, so I thought it'd be super smart to first rewatch the video and write down all the steps and all the things I had to do and made sure that I had everything I needed to start. I think generally following this tutorial was really easy. Her instructions are always really clear, and I've never really had a question about what I had to do. It was just that I had trouble doing it maybe, but even here, like, I didn't have a lot of trouble. It was really clear, it was easy to do, and it was a really good tutorial to follow.
Darts always make me really nervous.
Same.
So this is the fabric I chose. I love the pattern. It's very summery. I took exactly the same length as she did, which is 4 yards or 3.6 meters, and I had none of it left, so it was the perfect length. The very first step is to cut off a strip along the whole fabric, which will then later be the ruffle that goes at the bottom of the dress. And here is where I had my first problem, and it was completely a me problem because I could not decide on the length I wanted the strip to be because I didn't know Wendy's height, and I guessed that I was a bit taller than her, and I didn't know how much to cut off. I think in the end I cut the exact same length that she did, and that was good because otherwise the front part of the dress would have been too short. Yeah, but it took me way too long to decide on this. I have an issue with making decisions, but I finally made one, and look at me. I'm obviously very happy, and I think I did great in this. For the front pattern, I used this summer dress that has seen many summers, but all of them from the inside of my closet because I have not worn it a single time. I don't know why I used it for this, to be honest, because I've never even worn this dress, but it worked out in the end. I kind of traced the pattern, not kind of, I did. I traced the pattern onto the fabric with about 1.5 centimeters seam allowance and used a different dress to create a different neckline because I wanted it to be less steep. And then I just drew those lines until the edge of the fabric and hoped that it would work in my favor. Here I am drawing the bottom edge of the dress, and I remember thinking that this was really cool, that I'm doing this really straight and that I'm doing a good job, but you will see in a minute that I did not do a good job. It was an easily fixed problem, but I just remember it really vividly because I honestly thought that I was doing really well. And here I'm noticing that, in fact, I cut it not very straight, and I had to correct that, which meant the dress was even shorter.
So this is the front piece. I cannot even explain how long this took me. I think it took me half an hour just to figure out how to put it on the bias because I was just sure that it wouldn't be long enough. And I mean, it isn't as long as Wendy's is. You can see it, but it's to about just under above my ankles. You can see on the sides. I wish it kind of would fall straighter like this. I feel like maybe it's going to be a lot of fabric from pulling from. You can't actually see. The fabric kind of goes more to the front than just hang down flat. I'm afraid it's just gonna like pull and be a bit weird in the front with a lot of fabric in the back, but can't change it now. Yeah, this is where we're at. I'm now gonna cut out the rectangle from the back, and also the bias strips. Here she is with the back attached, and yeah, I'm now gonna gather this whole part together so that it can attach here at the back, and then I'll decide how low I want it. I think this is a nice place to gather it. Yeah, I was worried it would look weird with the print, but I don't think you even really notice it. I mean, you see it a bit here, but it looks fine to me.
And because it looked so fine, I was confident that I could take the next step, which is gathering that big rectangle. So for this, I made 2 parallel stitches at the top edge with the widest stitch length my machine has, making sure not to backstitch at the beginning or end so that you can pull on the strings and ruffle the whole fabric together into this bunched up this. At this point, it was really starting to look like something, even though I hadn't done all of the other steps, but I was pretty proud of it. And I thought that the hardest part was done. Here I am making the strips. For this, I just took the excess fabric I had left over and created, I think, 4 centimeter wide strips that I ended up all sewing together. So I had one big strip, or I think I did 2 big strips that were then later used for the binding.
So I've never done this before, but now I can learn. So she says to attach right side to right side, starting at the peak, and then working around all the way to the other peak and doing the front part last with a different strip.
This is what it looked like attached, with the right side of the binding to the right side of the dress. The only thing I now had to do was attach it from the other side, which I just really simply did by flipping over the binding and then flipping it over again so that it would cover all the raw edges. And then it looked like that. I don't know why I didn't film attaching the front part of the bias tape to the bodice. But here's a different shot of it, and it looked pretty cool, and I kind of just sewed it from the middle to the 2 peaks on the side and then left it long so that I could later attach them to the back of the dress.
I kind of like it. I also did her little trick of pinching the front and putting a little stitch along it. In the beginning, the back was too low. Like, I think I didn't ruffle it up and like gather it up enough. When I was wearing it without a shirt, I feel like if someone was standing here, they could like look right down the dress, which obviously is not ideal and something I would like to avoid. So my solution was to kind of pinch in a bit of fabric here and here, and I'm going to sew that as a kind of makeshift dart. Also not ideal because I already put the binding in here, but like this, I kind of like it. Maybe also if I iron it down a bit here, it will look a bit flatter, but yeah. And also the bottom obviously is very, I don't know if you can see it, but it's it's 2 different lengths.
I was very excited by the thought of finishing this whole dress in just one day, and the only thing left to do was the bottom, because it looked like this. because I think I'm taller than her, and for her I think it was floor length, and she cut some of it off and used that to attach to the original strip that we cut off in the very beginning. But for me that didn't work because I couldn't cut anything off because it was already shorter. So I just used the strip from the beginning, and I think it was enough fabric. It turned out fine. And I went through the process of cutting off the back kind of wonkily with scissors because I didn't know how to otherwise get it straight. I wouldn't recommend this technique. I wouldn't even call it a technique. It was not good. It made it very lopsided and wonky, but at this point I just wanted to get it done. So that's what I did. Then it was again time to ruffle that strip. I think it was a 3 meters 60 long strip, so it took forever. And I was just grateful that my thread didn't break because I think I took a huge risk, for me, a huge risk, and I did it with only one thread. And I am happy it didn't tear because then I would not have finished this dress in one day. And here I am doing it again. I am just eyeballing the cutting, and in the end it's fine because you don't see it on this kind of dress, but I don't think it would have worked in any other scenario, and I'm kind of cringing watching it now. And now, finally, we have arrived at the last part of the dress, which is the hemming, which is always one of my favorite parts because it means it's nearly over. I have this with every sewing project. I get so excited and I love it the whole time through, but as soon as I'm like near the end, I just want it to be over and I want it to be done and I want to wear it and I'm just over it. And so when we get to hemming, I'm always really excited because I know it's the very last thing and then I can go to bed or go live my life in other ways. But here we are, it's nearly done, and I really like the way it turned out.